I am Sven-Olof Colin. I will here, in a series of 6 very short videos, present my reflections on the fashionable concept and the fashionable attitudes concerning sustainability. Sustainability has turned into an ideology promoted by commercial and political organizations, but now also by academics and universities. Here, in these small videos, I will discuss sustainability as a conservative ideology that through activist actions by academics and universities refute the academic ground of academic freedom. Then I will, through anecdotal examples from my own subject, business administration, especially accounting and finance, which are my specialities, I will notice that the subject of business administration has ideological elements already, not only sustainability, but also that it has elements that can support the study of sustainability. I will end by a call for academics to not be political agents, so-called activists, but to perform the critical academic duty to critically study reality and to give our scientific knowledge to society in order to make society better able to perform sustainable action. So now I will try to share my PowerPoint. So you can see that my name is Sven-Olof Colin. I'm a professor of corporate governance. I have created my own university, Free University of Scania, which has a faculty, but I am also affiliated professor of Kharkiv University of Humanities, the called People's Ukrainian Academy, situated in Kharkiv, that now is under subject to the warfare of the Russian Federation. So, I will start with a citation. The citation saying that every academic, researcher or teacher has to declare his or her position in the class struggle. That was a statement made by a professor in sociology during the 70s in Sweden. For him, the universities were part of the class struggle and was therefore an actor that could support or hinder the development towards the happy communist society. Even if I was then the chair of the local Youth Democratic Socialist Party, and I have been convinced by Myrdal from 1969, a Nobel Prize winner, that economics contain hidden values, I thought that in academia I want scientific knowledge that is not political in its content, but could have political effects, but without me promoting the effects through political action. Politics and scientific knowledge should be as separate as possible, even if it's true that academia is drawn into the class struggle and they have become a part of the class struggle, and even if it's true that researchers use values when selecting research subject. But that political process is partly because academia is weak and not totally occupied by the scientific ethos to find the scientific knowledge. Whatever it is, whatever the consequences are, whatever social interest that is promoted or hindered by the knowledge. The communists at the universities never succeeded in transforming the universities to become active actors in the class struggle, and their activism faded away. While I performed my research career by investigating the power structure of the capitalist organization, the corporation, under the concept now well established as corporate governance. While the selection of the subject was guided by my socialist interest in social power structures and processes, I have mostly used, not as expected, the theory of Marxism, but mainly the bourgeoisie theories of agency theory and institutional theory, because I think they are more developed than the Marxist theory and capable of explaining what's happening. At the end of my career, 2022, when I'm recording this, the political activist professor has returned, but have now replaced the class struggle with sustainability. The radical, progressive, modernist movement towards the utopia of eternal peace in society through communism is now replaced by a conservative movement towards the utopia of eternal peace with nature through sustainability. Indeed, it is a paradox to experience the conservative political action of sustainability performed by university professors when realizing that it implies the implementation of the last of the 11 theses from Karl Marx's text, Thesis on Feuerbach from 1845, where he says, philosophers, and I cite, philosophers have hitherto only interpreted the world in various ways. The point is to change it. And that is a position I strongly oppose, very strongly. A second observation, which I use in order to start this presentation, which maybe is more comedy than reality, but I put a finger on my basic critique of sustainability, that it has a conservative orientation. The European Union has decided that nuclear power is a sustainable source of energy production, but with a reservation if it can safely dispose of radioactive waste. One friend of mine is working with exploring a site in Sweden as a safe place for nuclear waste. He told me that since nuclear waste must be secured under 100,000 years, they work with geological models covering these 100,000 years. It implies that they consider not one, but two inland icing periods. Obviously, they do not believe in their models that climate change will heat Sweden, so the Swedes do not experience, again, an inland icing period. The last inland icing in Sweden started at about 115,000 years ago. And here you can see how the ice is covering what is now Sweden and Denmark and part of Germany. This is from 18,000 years ago. And here, the arrow where it says Ölsjö is the place where I live. So, is climate change by way of heating bad? For some people, in some areas, it will certainly be bad, and indeed very bad for some, even destroying their possibility to live in that area. But for me, as a Swede, as you can see, living in Scania in the very south, where the arrow is, maybe climate change implies no inland icing. So it appears to be something good for me and for my relatives that will, if they will continue living in the south, in my house that is now here in Ultra, you can see the background here of my house, it will not be destroyed by inland icing. It will stand here. So my house will not be crushed by the inland ice if there is enough of heating. It will imply that my relatives, if they stay in the Scania 30,000 years from now, can live and grow food in Scania, maybe even wine and tobacco, because it will be hotter. So sustainability, if it implies no climate interference, will have as a consequence the risk of inland icing of my home, and that the future generations will not experience a positive change, such as producing wine in Scania, and maybe even producing tobacco. So my relatives 30,000 years from now can grow their own tobacco and do their own cigars. And maybe they don't have to do what I have to do. I have to go to Italy for the warm sun. So I would say that climate change has negative consequences, it has positive consequences, and it's very hard without a value to say if it's good or bad. Scientists, I think, should not declare any value. They should declare what we know today, that there is a climate change and it is influenced by humans. And that's it. That's the end of science. So that was my beginning as an introduction. Next will be about sustainability as an ideology.